Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. What is today? Happy Wednesday. Yeah, there we go. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to Mastermind Academy. I'm just trying to get myself together. I'm a little bit warm right now. So it's been like super cold here in Baltimore in comparison to like what it was. It was like hot and then it was immediately cold. And so it's been cold. So we shut off the air. And then today it's like kind of warm, and I mean I can cut the air back on, but the rest of the house feels nice. But this room, as you can see, like really like I'm touching the left wall, and then you can see the door right there on the right. This room is very small, and I have a beefy computer, so it is just radiating heat. It's just radiating heat. I have the window open, I have a ceiling fan on, but the ceiling fan's off center, and it's just not doing enough right now. It's not doing enough at all. So it's been a little weird, but it's all good. We'll survive it. I'll just be a little bit sweaty for today, and it'll be okay. But welcome back for one. Welcome to the second episode of Pipelines. Tonight's gonna be a little bit fun. I hope we're gonna step back into our role at our company. And we're going to learn a little bit about the infrastructure that we're going to be managing. We'll learn a little bit about the software development lifecycle as well. But we'll probably spend most of the time just kind of diving into the infrastructure that currently exists. And which will grow over time, but we'll talk about the infrastructure that currently exists. So what's up, everyone? First off, Crapples. Love the name. Congratulations on being first. I was in fact hiding behind that beautiful background. Good to have you. What's up, B. Edwards? How are you doing today? Hey, good to have you as usual. Rollers, hello. What's up, Bert the Banker? It is in fact time to do a little bit of LARPing. What's up, Kevin Evans? That's a little bit, your name's kind of fun to say, Kevin Evans. I like that. What's up, Sims Life? I'm gonna go with that. I think it's Sims Life, or maybe it's Sims Life, or Miss Life. Welcome. Just like dancing, how are you doing today? I'm a little bit warm, but I'll get there. I just won't move very much and it'll be fine. Bedrock Michael, good to see you. Ro Gibbs, how are you doing? Ammonia Flowers, I see you have the Logitech G923. I think that is just the G29, I think. I don't have Forza. I have Forza. I have not played Forza with it at all. The only game I've played with it so far, I've been spending a lot of time in Assetto Corsa, just the regular one, not the Competizione, just the regular one, because I'm not ready for those GT cars quite yet. Was given a free dual CPU HP server. Thought it would be neat, but it raises the temp. Yes, so I was given a bunch of free servers from a web hosting company that I used to work at here in Baltimore. They gave me a bunch of free servers, and I thought it was going to be the best thing ever. And all it did was make my room really loud and really hot, and I got rid of them pretty quickly. What's up, Strategist 47? How are you doing? I'm happy that you're here as well. So, all right, I think I'm gonna start doing, we're gonna start playing a game. I'm gonna try to get a little overlay. Whoops, I'm gonna try to get a little overlay because I think what I'm gonna try to do is look over the material and guesstimate an exact time that we'll finish up tonight. You hold me to it. Tonight, my guesstimation is that we will finish up everything. We might keep talking to stuff afterwards, but I think we'll get done with the stuff, with all of the content. 8:36. All right, so quick night, but 8:42. Let's 8:42. Final answer, 8:42. We are, I'm not gonna rush to meet that time, but I just want to, I want to guess a little bit. We'll see how close we get. Let's see how far off the mark we're gonna be. But do exclamation point slides. You can go ahead and you can get the slides. Let's take a look at the syllabus. We're gonna take a look at like just the syllabus, just to refresh everyone at the beginning and at the end. The thing that I forgot to do last time, because I wanted to make an entire panel for it, was sabertech.co. So let me share this, sabertech.co. I talked about it the very first day, but Sabertech.co. This is a company that's here in Baltimore, Saber Technology Solutions. They do a lot of data-driven things. Pretty cool company. And they do have an opening for a software development. It says software development lead. From my understanding, they want a pretty senior software engineer. So if you or no, if that fits you, or you know someone who may be looking for something, I believe this is a contract role though, a 1099 role. So you know, this might be good for someone who's also doing other contracting. I'll shoot you all the link here. I'm gonna make a command for this later, but this is also gonna have like these jobs and stuff are gonna have their own little panel. So if you're if you're interested in it, please apply and definitely share with your friends. Can I ask a dumb question here? No, ask questions wherever you feel comfortable. Absolutely ask the questions here. And again, no question's a dumb question. Oh, I'm gonna say almost, because people, whenever you say no question's a dumb question, people try to find the dumbest question. But no, ask away any question you want to ask. I'm also gonna share these I'm gonna open up a jobs channel. For just things that I come across. I have, you know, a lot of people that I work with who are looking for engineers. And like I said, this one's senior, but there's going to be a huge focus on entry level and mid level positions. That's kind of be my specialty. So just keep an eye out. Definitely just keep an eye out as we kind of get the ball rolling with that. Darn it, I did not mean to close that. Let's go over here. Let's take a look. Academy.mastermind.io journeys. Pipelines, that's what we're doing tonight. I can never remember which night we're doing which. The days are kind of melding together. Absolutely, just like dancing. I mean, you know, we got to get these roles, man. We can get rich out here together. It's gonna be super exciting. So today we're gonna finish up the week 1 stuff, and it's really just gonna go through these 4 bullet points. I mistyped this one on week 1, only because this one like falls into like literally the things that we're doing in week 2. I don't know why I thought that went into week 1, but we did this on Monday. Tonight we're going to be diving into the existing infrastructure. We're going to get into the infrastructure, see the application, see how it works, see what's going on, and just talk about how, like, just kind of see those things. And then we'll probably do this first though, the understanding of the software development lifecycle, so that we can take our time with the existing infrastructure things. We'll also make a we said last time, you know, we're gonna get back into our role. There's no real documentation or anything of this company yet, so we're gonna start to take some notes to get ourselves together. We'll probably make an infrastructure diagram today to kind of, you know, help us figure out where to go from here. So yeah, this will be great. The first row of my Ubuntu terminal is this root at admin PC mount. Yes, so no big deal. That's not a dumb question. We're gonna hop into the terminal today a lot. That is what's called your prompt, and yours probably looks something like this, something a little bit different. What that is that is your user. It's just a little identifier to show you kind of what's going on. It is your user that you're logged in as, the computer name. So your computer's name is admin-PC, and then it's giving you the location that you're currently at. So this is the current directory that we are in on the computer. Yeah, so it's not a dumb question at all. The prompt is super confusing. You can customize it. It's kind of set up this way kind of by default to give you, you know, some good information. But we're gonna hop into, like I said, some servers tonight, so it should be nice and fun, and we can talk about that stuff. What's up, That Base Super? Thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. Good to have you. Yes, pipes are there's a lot of confusing things about Linux, about computers, period, for sure. They can get really you know, it's a lot going on. Okay, so for everyone new, first off, if you missed the first episode, it is up on YouTube. I met my window, 24 to 48 hours. If you missed the first decoded video, that will go up tonight. Both of those are rendered out. Both of them are already uploaded. Like, it's already, the pipelines one is already published, so you can watch that if you want to go back and watch that later. And then the decoded one will be up tonight. So yeah, if you need to see that. Are we learning plumbing now? Basically we are. I mean, you know, just like you know, we said the one bad word we were gonna say on this stream. We're not cussing on the stream, but the one bad word we're gonna say is booty. And so just like, you know, the pipes that carry away the things that come from your booty, the pipes that we're going to create are going to carry data. How about that? So we can make all kinds of connections here. Give me something else. I'll see if I can. I'll see if I can connect them. But yes, we are doing plumbing now. Okay, so yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing today. And then next week, so this week is kind of the introductory week, to kind of get you, and figure out what we're actually doing, getting familiar with things, just kind of how it will be on a job. Like you come in, you get all your paperwork signed, you meet all the people, and then you start to be given documentation. You start to be, just slowly thrust into the stuff that you're doing. And that's what this week has kind of been. And I only want to bring this up because we are not going, like, almost all of the rest of the weeks, except for maybe week 3, because this one is a lot of design stuff and like a lot of like higher level concepts and theories. Week 2, we're not gonna spend almost any time like directly in the slides. There will be slides, absolutely, but we're gonna be building things. Like we're gonna be like looking at a slide and then like doing something, because there's a lot that's going to be happening during these parts, because we're going to be breaking down applications, building up these environments, doing all kinds of stuff. So just mentally, I think it's going to be an adjustment to the pace of next week. So just want to let you know right now. So yeah, let's hop into the slides and let's get started. And we will start, like I said, with the Sdlc stuff. So if you're in the slides, scroll down to number 2 instead of number 1, and we will get started right there. But before we start, does anybody have any questions before we we get ourselves going today? We close all this. Ooh, hold on. I think something I was trying to do for this might be done. I know you can't see it. You shouldn't be able to see it. Let's see. Oh, excellent. Perfect. Something that needed to be done is actually done. One big thing went wrong, but I know how to fix it, but it's fine. What flavor of donut do I prefer? That's a phenomenal question. Really, really good question. Now, it depends on where I'm going. If it's something like Krispy Kreme, I prefer basic glazed donut from Krispy Kreme. Glazed donut, always safe move. But if I'm at something like Dunkin' Donuts, I do prefer the double chocolate donuts. So the chocolate glazed cake donut at the bottom with the chocolate icing. I'm a chocolate fan and I do like those. I'm newly into, my wife likes Boston cream donuts. I used to hate Boston cream donuts. I am newly into them. I used to be huge into sour cream donuts, but not so much anymore. And blueberry donuts work really well as well. I try not to eat that many donuts, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. Yep, this is intermediate level, like the first pipeline stream. This will be we're definitely going to be getting into the more intermediate level stuff. Would you recommend Windows or Linux for this course? I would recommend Linux. I generally am always going to recommend Linux unless you're well versed in Windows. Especially if you can get the Windows subsystem for Linux, if you can get WSL installed inside of Windows, I say go for that. That is what I'm going to be using probably for a majority, if not all of this course. My WSL broke. That sucks. For the process, I don't know anything about that. Hopefully mine works. WSL or VM? Great question. We are not going to be if you have WSL1, if you only have WSL1, I say go VM. If you are upgraded to WSL2, then I say go WSL2. So that is my recommendation. Yeah, then I say go WSL2 because we will likely be doing some Docker stuff. We're actually going to do a little bit of voting, but we might do some Docker stuff, and that might help you out there with WSL2. So you guys are going to have, your own hand in deciding some of the routes of some of the things that we're going to do, because, like I said, just like anything else, no answer, there's no really wrong answer. There's just trade-offs. So we'll be making some decisions about where we want to go with certain things. All right, pipelines. Day 2, a journey into software delivery, automation, and infrastructure. So today's topics, simply company overview and intro to existing infrastructure. We got a little bit of intro to our new role. We'll do a little fun intro to the company and get, up to speed with the infrastructure, but we will start with learning the software development lifecycle. You'd be surprised at how simple of a concept this is, but a lot of people don't know it, which is fine. But you'll see it a lot of times on job recs and stuff. You'll see those big letters SDLC, and people will talk about it without really knowing what they're talking about. And I guess it sounds intimidating, but it's really not intimidating at all. The life cycle for software development is actually very similar to a lot of other things that people create besides software. So yeah. All right, so let's get going. Orientation is your first day at the company. Remember, you are working at, come on, let's move back a little bit. Let's get into the zone. Who are we? We are, whatever your name is, whatever you would like your name to be during these 8 weeks, you have gotten a new job at a media company, and you are ecstatic about this. You already know that it is it's a media startup, but they've been around for, they've been around for a while. They've been growing for a while. They've only recently really started to take off. And you're starting there because they don't have anyone to manage their infrastructure. They haven't. The people who created it, they were software people, and they focused on that, and now they're needing some help. So today you begin your journey at Pipelines. At's in there twice. That's what I would have been able to type at many more times if I still had that 6 finger. It would have been way more than twice. But at Pipelines, so this is called Pipelines, but the company you work at is also called Pipelines. So it's a media company dedicated to ensuring that the world's best content makes it to you. That's all their goal is to make sure the entire world's content, the best content out on the interwebs, makes it to you. And why are we talking about this? It just helps to know what you're supporting and what the company's mission is. This part of it's not crazy important, but we are a media company, and that is important in that it's going to further remember, we're going to be doing some R&D work, or at least we're hiring engineers to do some R&D work. So the types of things that we're going to be trying to create during that R&D process are going to be media related. So here's the backstory of the company. This company was started by a couple, James and Tina. They're together. That's why they are a couple. They're not married yet. I'm adding a little pizzazz to it now, but yes, they're not married yet, but they've been together for a little while. They're both software engineers, and they met while working at a software company together 4 years ago. So they met at this software company, and they hit it off immediately, and they started to date, and decided that they also wanted to begin building a company while they, shortly after they met. And they worked on that while they still worked at the company, and now they run this company full time. But that was 4 years ago. So this company, or at least the inception of the company, is about 4 years old at this point. They've been building this company since then and have found significant traction in the last year. So just in the last year is when they've really started to pick up. You guys know the way the internet works. They got a viral posting, an article that was really popular that led people to their content. And now people know about this amazing site that is a wealth of content. And so this is why you have been hired. They were able to handle it before, but they've been having lots of issues, with the increase in traffic. They've been really struggling to keep the site up and running and serving people. They've been having trouble being able to make updates and changes, just because they're spending a lot of their time making sure that, trying to make sure the site can be supported for the amount of people who are already attacking it. So not attacking, I don't want to say attacking, because people are just visiting, they're friendly. But yeah, the primary product is called Conduit. It's a medium.com competitor. So if anyone doesn't know what medium.com is, it's a platform. It's a media platform for people to be able to publish articles. Oh, never mind, I have it right there. But it allows people to easily publish and share articles about whatever they like. So you can simply go on to medium.com and you can write an article about whatever you want, and then you can share it around the internet, and hopefully people love it and find it to be amazing. But it makes it super easy to publish things, and Conduit is going to allow us to do this. Now, caveat here, Conduit is I didn't come up with the name Conduit. Conduit is an open source. It's in, I want to be clear with you guys. I did not create this application. It is an open source. It is an open source style application for this. Conduit's the actual name, and so we're just going to keep it as Conduit because it makes sense. Company's called Pipelines. This product is called Conduit. Yeah, so we're gonna take a look at it in a second, but in true startup fashion, this is the important part. Everything works. The site works. You know, all the things on the site work, but everything was installed and is managed manually on a single gigantic server. So they have basically what they've been doing is, as they got more traffic, you know, they started out as, you know, most people do when they're building a product on a server, and they started to put everything on there. And as they learned more things, they installed what they need and added the packages they need and did all this other stuff. And as they started to get more traffic, they would just call up the hosting provider and say, hey, I need you to bump up my server size because I got more traffic. And you know, the server company is like, absolutely no problem, you're gonna pay us more money, so let me go ahead and bump that up and give you a bigger and bigger server. And so, you know, that's worked so far, but they've reached the max kind of level that they could go to, and they're still having issues. So that's what they need help. There's no documentation, there's no development environments, it's just an app and a bunch of tribal knowledge. So James and Tina, the owners of the company, are or have been the only developers to this application. They've been the only people managing the infrastructure. There are other people at the company, but they are doing other things. They're doing other things on the business side of things like graphics and things like that. James and Tina thought they, you know, could handle all of the technical pieces, and now that they're growing, they've learned that they cannot. So, any questions? You know, any questions about this company? You know, if you have any questions that might fill out the story a little bit, feel free to ask. You know, well, we can make up whatever we want here. We are LARPing, you know, and everyone knows that LARPing, maybe not everyone, but everyone knows that LARPing, you know, you gotta be able to think on the fly. You gotta do a little bit of improv as well. It's a paywall, shakes fist. I mean, you know, if we want to make money, we should make this a paywall too. Let's see. What size is your team? This is a phenomenal question. You are a team of one. You are the first infrastructure hire. There are 3 additional developers being brought on. One primarily to assist with the main product here that we're going to talk about, and the other 2 primarily to help build out the other R&D products, but they'll all be kind of jumping in and out. But you are a party of one. So we are, you know, it is scary. It's very scary. But I will say this. I will say that in being a party of one, the goals for you, I think, if you're a party of one, are to make things better, but also to make sure that they work. So like I if you ever get stuck in the position where you're the sole engineer on a team like this, you know, ask questions, you know, think about the future, try to do things right. But you know, there's like I said, everything's trade-offs, and one of the trade-offs you got to think about is that it's just you managing it, just you having to solve decisions, make decisions about things. So make it work, you know, make it work. Don't spend too much time trying to pick the perfect solution for every problem, and there's no one to really check us. So, you know, it doesn't have to be scary. Doesn't have to be scary at all. Do they have microservices, or is this a monolithic architecture? Even better question. These are the kinds of questions that are great. So we're going to look at it in a second. Actually, let's just go to the next slide. That'll answer this, but keep asking those questions. We're on the next 2. Yeah, okay. But your job is to whip the company's development processes and infrastructure into shape, as well as enable it to quickly build applications and prototypes for potential new products. All right, so that's why you're here. You're here to do all of these things. You know, get everything into shape. Make sure it's, you know, reliable. Make sure, you know, move us into the future if you can. Sorry. But also enable us, you know, we need the framework, we need some stuff set up to be able to build new products. James and Tina, they've tried to build some new products, but they've already run into some issues where, you know, this current product has some very specific packages and things that are needed to make it run, but they have a single server, and they tried to go on here, there's no development environments, and they did some stuff locally on their computer, and they tried to, you know, do some stuff, but they had some issues with the main server, and so they haven't been able to push out any new products or begin really working on the new products because of this, because they don't know what they're doing almost at all. So this is why we're here, and let's talk about the actual application. So Conduit. Conduit is specifically the application portion of Conduit. It is a Node.js application. So JavaScript, it's a JavaScript application with a React front end, Node.js and React front end, and it's got a Node.js and Express back end. So one of the big things, one of the reasons people like Node.js so much is because if you're going to create web applications, you're going to have to use JavaScript somewhere. You're going to have to use JavaScript. And so it's nice if you can use JavaScript both on the front and the back end, whether or not that's a good thing, what is up for debate, but a lot of people like it for that reason. It does have a database or data store. It uses MongoDB. So MongoDB is a NoSQL database, so that is running as well. That's what's housing the data, and it's using Nginx as a proxy. Okay, so that's the main application. We're going to talk about, we'll dive into each of these things when we get into the server, talk about what they do, and we'll talk about what they do when we build out. We're going to build out an infrastructure diagram, which will also help us out, and not just help us out. Right now, we're in the mindset of we're coming into this company looking to help, looking to make things better. And so the things that we're going to start to put together is we need to be thinking about what's going to be beneficial to people coming onto the team as well. If we are to get any other infrastructure engineers or people managing the infrastructure, we want them to be able to understand what's happening as well. So when we're going through setting these things up and while we're figuring out what's going on, we'll make sure to take notes and to document things in a way that will help for sure. So Express is a web server. It's a Node JS web server basically, and it's really cool. It does some cool stuff. It makes it pretty easy to create web routes and things into your application. You can use it to make APIs, all kinds of stuff. But yeah, that's what it is. So you actually don't need there are ways to run this without needing Nginx, but a lot of people use Nginx as a web server, and when you do a lot of when you do research on something like this, like if you were to go look up how to host a Node Express app, it usually tells you to use Nginx as a proxy, and that's kind of what happened here. And that's fine. That's actually pretty good, especially since they plan on utilizing more applications than just this. So this is going to be really, really fun. Do they keep states in this app or stateless? That is a good question. It is a stateful application for the most part. But we're gonna take a look at it. It's a stateful application. Stateful application. Monolithic architecture is built as one large system and usually has one code base. Microservice architecture is built small independent modules. Yes, so this one's actually interesting. Notice I told you there was a front end and a back end. Now that does not mean it's not a monolith at all, but they are broken up into two different services, two completely separate services. What's going to blow your mind is that there's been absolutely no version control as well. They manage this stuff on the server. They like SCP up files. They copy files onto the server. They handle everything, from their local computers, and they have some backups and stuff. So like, it's not like they have nothing saved, but they're not using any of that stuff. So it's really weird. All right. Yes, I know, Hi Patrick. You get in there day one and you're like, oh man, this is gonna be, we're in for a lot, but it's okay, because that instantly means that now we can start to do, we can do some high value things early. Okay, that's all. I said this was going to be really old school infrastructure, and it is. So the infrastructure, all it is an Ubuntu server. That's it. Nothing else. It's just an Ubuntu server. Now, yeah, that's it. Now you might say, hey, this is pipelines. We're supposed to be learning about infrastructure and all this other stuff. Absolutely. There will be much more infrastructure as we move along, and most of it will be created by us, which is nice. But this is what a lot of digital transformation is. A lot of digital transformation for companies looking to move to the cloud or move to microservices and things like that. They have, maybe it's not just a single server. A lot of times they'll have a bunch of servers, but they're pretty stagnant. They have their applications installed on them, and they do what they do. And so that is kind of what we have here. It works. It does work. The site works, and you can visit it. The way that you can visit it is you can simply go to pipelines.media. Anyone can go to it. It should be good. I was waiting for the DNS to propagate for you, but pipelines.media should get it to you. And this is the application. Now, I will say, I said it a little bit earlier, I made a big mistake. I made a huge mistake when I was trying to do something, and I should have done some backing up. They have a bunch of test articles that you can pull from, and I imported them into my Mongo store. And then I was doing some things. I was trying to move some stuff around, and I realized what I did when I checked earlier, and I basically removed all those things. That's not a big deal tonight. I will get them all imported back into here, because there were something like 600 or 700 different articles, but this is just kind of what the site looks like. This is a picture of Idris Elba because, I'm Idris, basically. I'm Mr. Elba. But you can see that this is you can see articles, you can tag them as certain things, and it's markdown. Just like Medium is, it's markdown, and you can do a lot of cool things in here. Yes, there is no HTTPS. Interestingly enough, that's something that we are going to, this is not a design decision by them. They would have had HTTPS. This was simply a time constraint by me. Mostly just a time constraint, to be honest, but this is great because we are still going to implement this. We are going to implement it with Let's Encrypt, and so that's going to be pretty fun. I think I have a good idea of when I want to include that, but yeah, we are going to implement Let's Encrypt on here so that it is now that we have a domain. I didn't have a domain for this until today, until like 30 minutes before. I was like, oh, let me grab a domain. There was pipelines.academy, but I was like, I want something that's going to keep us in our mindset of like, we're a media company. And then I saw that they had this media TLD, and I bought it. Amazon takes a little while to register their domains, like way longer than I thought. So I was glad that it propagated before everything started up. Oh yeah, no, Let's Encrypt. So Let's Encrypt it's dope, but Amazon's certificate manager is better if you're someone who utilizes AWS services. Their certificate manager is easier, but yeah, you would think, but a lot of resistance from Graybeard's VMs can handle all that. Yeah, I mean, no one's, like I said, no one's wrong. Everything's just trade-offs. Like, everyone has their ideas about what's better. And generally your experience guides why you believe that. Nothing wrong with it, but different situations require different solutions. So this is the main application. You can sign up, so all of you can actually sign up if you want. You might break the server, but go ahead and try to sign up. Go to pipelines.media and try to sign up. Put in, see what you can create. I don't know if I can see who's in here because I don't think I created an admin user. I'll figure out how to create an admin user. But you can also create some articles. So maybe if you even want to do that, you can do that as well. But yeah, try to sign up. See it. It might break. But let's log into it. So when I said we're gonna do the infrastructure deep dive, yeah, we looked at the application. Application's great. It's again JavaScript. It's Node.js, React on the front end. The back end is also Node.js and Express. We can look at the code for that. But let's kind of really take a look at what's going on here, how things are set up. We said it's being Proxy by Nginx. If you've never seen any of those things, this will be a nice little foray into this stuff. Don't stress out if you're like, man, like I don't know what's happening because it's all text-based. It's all right. Look at it, try to take in the larger level concepts, play with it over the 8 weeks. Things will pick up. Write down all the stuff you don't know. If you're like, oh, I have no idea, I've never touched Nginx, let me go look up some Nginx configuration. Watch a video or two on Nginx. Even if it doesn't answer all your questions, you just, if you wake up, I'm serious, y'all, if you wake up and take, usually people wake up and hop straight on Instagram. Take 30 minutes. Take 30 minutes, Google something you heard tonight that you didn't know, and just Google, what is Nginx? Google, what is Express for JavaScript? And watch a video and watch 6 videos, watch 6 5-minute video, whatever. You will learn so much by just, taking that 30 minutes out and hearing different things. Like it's you don't have to get it all at once, but you'll learn a lot just doing that. I still do it to this day. Like I grab 20-30 minutes and I'll pick something that maybe I saw somewhere that I wasn't too sure about, or something I've been interested in learning, and I'll just listen to it. And I won't be an expert on it at all, but I'll have enough to start to move me along and to learn how it fits into everything else. So just a little advice from me. So we're going to log into this server. This server is -I, what key? Pipelines. It is an Ubuntu server, like I said. Right now it's hosted in AWS. Imagine it's hosted. It is not important where it's hosted right now. Imagine it's hosted anywhere, but it's just an Ubuntu server. So I say that because I want to be clear that right now, we do not have all the functionality that even what EC2 provides us a lot of cool stuff. Imagine that we don't have that functionality. Imagine that we really just have a server. So we're not just going to go in and do stuff with EC2. We are going to fully do a digital transformation during this course. Toasted Zergling, thank you so much for the 100 bits. Awesome. I'm glad you got to come through. It's good to see your name. I remember people. It's good to have you, and I really do appreciate the bits. Thank you so much. So we're gonna head over to pipelines.academy. Could not resolve address. Oh no, not academy. Pipelines.media. I forgot that fast. So you won't be able to log into this server, but what I will do is I will give you all check out the resources channel. After this, what I'll do is I'll export an AMI that people can grab. I'll make it public so that anyone can grab this AMI if you want to follow along inside of AWS. I will also, like I said, it didn't work for the first person that I had try it, but it worked for me. I will export this as a I'll export it so that it works in VirtualBox. There are ways to export AMIs so that they work in VirtualBoxes. Well, not AMIs, you're actually exporting the EBS volume so that it works inside of VirtualBox. We will try that. VMDK. See, there we go. You can see I haven't worked with VMs in so long that I never remember all the stuff. I know VDI, but I will do that after this as well. And I'll throw it in the S3 bucket so that if anyone wants to try to get it installed in a virtual machine, you can get it installed in a virtual machine. But the AMI will be available as well. Thank you, Hi Patrick. If you know what the thing means, it's easier to remember the acronym. That makes perfect sense. Virtual machine disk. What does VDI mean? What is it? Virtual disk image. And this one's virtual machine disk. That makes easy to remember. I won't forget it now. I like that. I need to spend more time just looking up those things. All right, cool. Okay. So this is the server here. It's a Linux server. This one's not super large, even though I said they had a super large server. So if you try to do something and it died, well, it died. I didn't want to spend any money on a C5 large or something. So let's take a look at the application. It's sitting here on the server. It's sitting right in the Ubuntu directory. And there's the back end folder and there's the front end folder. All right. So let's take a look at the back end. All right, so it really is a pretty standard Node JavaScript application. Now, if you're not familiar with Node and JavaScript, let's actually start to take some notes really quick. I'm actually going to start a whole new, underneath the slides on the site. I'm going to put another heading, and we are going to put notes. We're going to start taking some notes here, and we're going to make a whole new page though, called notes, and we're taking our notes in Notion. I'll call them infrastructure notes. There we go. Okay, so we want to it's our first week here, and we're taking a look. Someone gave us access to log into the server, and so we got logged into the server, and we're looking around. And again, there's a lot of tribal knowledge, so we said, hey, where, there's no documentation, where is the system, the services located that we care about? And they say, hey, all you got to worry about right now is that the back end is in the back end folder and that the front end is in the front end folder. And you say, great, all right, that's good information to start with. Now, notes. I'm not going to spend a lot of time trying to make these notes amazing because everyone takes notes differently. We're just going to get some things out on paper so that we have something to reference, and that we can all keep going back and forth to. Take your own notes if you like to take your own notes. But yeah, I'm just kind of showing you how you might approach something like this. So we might say, all right, cool. We know that our maybe I'll put a little heading here for an application. We'll say what is this called? I already forgot the name of it. Conduit. We say front end. Front end, and we'll just say this is location. I thought that was gonna be, there we go. Location is in /home /Ubuntu /front end. All right, so I'm pretty sure that's where we are. So if we go into the front end directory, how can you figure that out? How can you figure out where you are? Again, Linux commands. We'll just cover some of them, and PWD, present working directory, that says, hey, if I can just copy this and say, hey, this is where it is. No, there's zero documentation. That's why we are starting to create the documentation. So also we are starting 2 weeks before the engineers are going to come in. So that's why week 2, we're going to be starting to build out the developer environments and give them environments to work with. We're starting 2 weeks before the developers start. So we have about a 2-week lead time to kind of understand what's happening and know what's going on. So let's see. Print working directory. Oh yeah. What did I say? Oh, what did I say? Present working directory. I think I actually don't know which one it is. It might be print working directory. Let's see. Man, it's a good question. Oh, I guess it is print. I think someone told me it was present, and I went with that. Print makes sense because you're printing it out, but it is also where I currently am. But working directory would mean present, so that makes sense. Print working directory makes a lot of sense. So there we go. Now I'm more correct. I think someone said it last time, always trying to, I'm wrong a lot. I'm learning how to be more correct. Now I'm more correct. Love it. So let's see. What's the software you're using for documentation? I'm using Notion. Thank you. Oh yeah, you got it. Y'all move so fast. Cool. So we know that that's in front end, and we know that back end is back one directory, and there's back end here. And that's where this is located. So we'll just take some quick notes, just so we can know where things are. This is not the best way, I think, to put where things are, but again, we're just taking some notes, and we can clean them up and make them super nice so that people know what to do. Okay, now that that's working, let's see. There is a Readme, which is really cool. So let's take a look at the Readme that's here, and excellent. The Readme looks really good. So it's weird that they have no version control, but there is a Readme here that kind of tells us what to do. So we could either point out that Readme, we could copy that Readme into where we are now. But it kind of tells us how to use it. This is really nice because if you've never dealt with JavaScript applications, you might not know how to, get certain things installed, how to make this thing work. So it's really nice because it's going to give us some knowledge on how to work with, Node.js applications, how we want to run them, all of that stuff. The front end folder should have some React and Node.js files, and the backend should have some Express and Node.js files, right? So they're all just kind of JavaScript files. They're not really different types of files, but yes, essentially what you're saying, yeah, but they're just they're just all the same. They're all JavaScript. They're just Express is just a framework, as is React. Ammonia Flows, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. Thank you so much for your generosity. Everyone who received a sub, please, round of applause, audible round of applause, please. And please thank your gifter for the kindness that they have issued to you on this beautiful Wednesday. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. But yes, your statement is correct. And so let's look around a little bit. There's a couple things in here, and you might say, hey, I don't know the anatomy of a JavaScript application, but you can start to look through. And again, you're gonna have to go down the Google rabbit hole. You're gonna have to watch a video or two, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not supposed to be able to hop straight in and know exactly where to go with this stuff. But here, there's a couple of good things in here that I find interesting. One, there's a yarn.lock file. You don't know what that is yet, but that's interesting. It's interesting because the README tells you to use npm, which is fine as well, but also not a big deal. But we can start to look through some of these things. Routes is probably, I said that this is an Express server. And so there's some stuff in here. So this is really the routes to our API. Our backend is basically just an API, and it takes in commands, it takes in certain things. There is an API spec in here, but we're not going to look at it because that's for the open source project, which is the same, but it's going to give us more information than we want to know right now. So there's there's some auth here, and if you just want to see what a JavaScript file looks like, we've got a file that's going to take care of the authorization, so signing in and making sure that when you try to do something that requires you to be authorized to do it, that it works. And as you get more comfortable with code, you'll start to look through here. And like I said, I really haven't looked through this application that much, to be honest, because I wanted to be flying in a little bit blind with this. I really just learned how to set it up. But it does use JOTs for this. It uses JavaScript web tokens. And so these allow you to, again, be able to authorize what you're doing. So that's good. So there's an index.js. Usually the index is where your application enters into things. And we kind of look through it a little bit and, see that it's using /API, and it kind of enters in on /API. And you might want to say, all right, cool, /API. So there's an API folder here, and you can go look in this API folder. And you can look through here and see that, hey, there's a users, there's a articles, an index, and I can look at all of them to kind of look through and see. And so I would recommend that you do this. Even if you don't know how to program all that well, even if you're not a web developer, I would your mind will begin to find patterns in the way that these applications work. Even if it's just the naming of the files and folders and stuff, if you are the person that's going to be having to manage these servers with these applications on them, start to take a look at them. I get comfortable with them. Part of DevOps and SRE work is really breaking down those silos and becoming more ingrained in the entire process. So don't be afraid of it. The more and more you look at this stuff, I'm telling you, the more and more it'll make sense. I am not a great web developer at all. I'm telling you, I'm really not. But you just, the more and more you look at it, the more and more you do things with it, the patterns you'll start to figure out what things do. Because again, it's all just, programming is, computers are, they're fast and they're efficient, but they're kind of dumb, to be honest. Like they just follow rules. They basically follow rules, and all you got to do is look at the rules that are being given to them, and you can start to slowly figure out what in the world is going on. So yeah, so feel free to take a look at these things. What we are going to do is I will put these, we'll get both of these up in the GitHub tonight as a precursor to next week, so that you can start to take a look around them yourself, and just see what's kind of in there. Maybe you can even get it running yourself. But yeah, we got that. I don't necessarily think you need to start to document the application yet. Yeah, I think that's something that you can take on a little bit later. The application works, as you come across things, definitely start to document those things. But right now, we just want to know how things are kind of working. front end, back end. Now, the next thing, how do you get, if we looked at the README of this, how do you get an application like this to work? There's a lot of, one of the problems with JavaScript are dependencies. And this is something that you should be thinking about whenever you are worried about any type of application, dependencies of the runtime. So the runtime is the first thing, the runtime being, you know, the software that's actually running, the programming language that's actually running this stuff, and its dependencies, libraries. These are there's been so many applications made to solve dependency issues, and so you need to be worried about how to handle those things and how do those dependencies get resolved here in JavaScript. And if we were to take a look through this markdown README file, we'll end up seeing that to get this thing running locally, we need to clone the repo, even though, you know, we're not using version control. So basically just get a copy of the repository, then run an npm install. So you see this really cool, npm install, then it's going to tell you to install MongoDB. So we know that we need MongoDB, but we were already aware that MongoDB was a part of, you know, what we were doing. And you say, all right, cool, I need MongoDB, and then I need to run npm run dev to get a local development server up and running. So looks like that's all I need to do to kind of get started and to get running. So generally what I do is I'll try to follow those steps somewhere else. Now, I said that this isn't cloned, this isn't in version control. So the first thing you might want to do is copy all this stuff off of this computer and maybe get it to your local machine so that you could try to do it yourself and get through that. But I think before you even start to try to get these things set up, again, you should start to try to understand the structure of what's going on. And I think, you know, there's some notes we can make, but I think this is a good time to start visualizing what this is starting to look like with the different technologies, because we know there's MongoDB, we know that this is the back end, and yeah, and it gives us a place to start with. So let's go ahead and let's make an infrastructure diagram, or at least start to make a nice infrastructure diagram for this. So I use a tool called draw.io. You can use, there are a bunch of different ones, draw.io. I think Google bought them not that long ago, but there are a bunch of them. But you can start to do this. I'm gonna create a blank one, and it gives you some really nice tools to be able to make an infrastructure diagram. And again, why do you want to do this? One, people love pictures. Pictures really help drive home the point and drive home the way that something works. The infrastructure diagrams are a little difficult to make because in general, there are two kinds of infrastructure diagrams that you can make that matter, that are helpful to people. One is the actual diagram of the way the infrastructure is set up and how infrastructure relates to each other. So that's one, how applications to infrastructure like actually relates. Like, does this application connect directly to this application? And then, you know, does this application send data to this application? You know, that's one way. The other way that you can make an infrastructure diagram is a data flow diagram. So sometimes, a lot of the time actually, especially as your system gets more advanced, the way that data moves through your system is different from the way that the system it looks and the way that it's connected. And so those are kind of two different ways. Throughout this course, we'll do a couple of different diagrams. We'll always update this. We're just getting a baseline tonight to figure out what's going on. And again, you know, we're touching the application. We went in and we looked at it a little bit. We don't really know what it is. We're not JavaScript developers, but we know that it's running on a server. And so we want to start to get that stuff down on paper. So a lot of different ways you can do it. I'm not the best infrastructure diagram creator. And so you can do it in a couple of different ways. One way you can do it is you can do it by service or by actual like infrastructure. So I can say, hey, this is my giant server. And I can put a little text thing here that says, this is my Ubuntu server, and then put maybe what's the URL for this, pipelines.media. So maybe I can start out with something like this. Some people like to do this. I think this is okay for now. Again, no wrong answers. If we hate it, we'll change it up. Not a big deal. All right, and what do we know? We don't know a lot about this application, but what we do know is that there is what's nice is you can search shapes. I'm gonna search for Node.js Excellent. I can use a little node icon. This is why I like draw.io. And I can say, great, I have a Node.js application. I have no idea where to put it on this diagram in the server. I don't know where it exists in the server, but I'll just sit it here for now. And I'll say that, hey, this is my backend. And I move this. Oh no. Oh no. Wait. Why is this? Let's remove that. How do I backend? All right, so we just put something like that. We don't know a ton, but we do have that. All right, let's see. Yeah, I should talk about npm a little bit, but we'll definitely get back to it. But I think you guys already covered it. Yeah, npm is a package manager for JavaScript, and actually, this is actually good too. This is good because now we start to know that generally package managers for different applications is another tool or service that you must install. So let's actually start to add in also, we have our front end and our back end, and maybe we can just add a, like a, I don't know, list of software or something like that. So we know we need Node.js, and we know that we're gonna need npm. So npm is a tool. Maybe you don't know that yet, but eventually you'll, as you're Googling around, when you try to go run npm install, if it's not, well, it's already installed, but if you try to set it up on another system or something, it won't work. So generally you're gonna need npm. But when you're doing something like this, when you're starting to break down the software that you need, and that exists on the system, it's important also to find versions as well. This is very important. This is something that people overlook very often. We have no idea how long this system has been around. They might be on node 6 or something like that. Who knows? And so the easiest way to do that is almost every tool, you add a -v or you add a -- version. And so again, if you're unsure about what to do, you don't need to know what to do. That's why I always tell people, you just need to know that there's a way to find the version for anything. So you just go to Google and you say, how to find version of Node.js. Google it. Absolutely, just Google it. I click on the very first one, and this says, how do I check my version of Node.js? And they even show you a little GIF of someone typing it in, and you say, excellent. I'm a pro now. I'm a Node.js pro because I know how to check my version. Now, these are the things I want to be clear about. You spent a minute and a half looking up an answer for something that you need to do. Not only did this tell you how to find the version of Node, that -v paradigm is something that exists in a lot of applications, and so now you've learned a bigger tool and you've added it to your tool belt. This is one little thing that you've added to your tool belt in a minute and a half, and it's something that you'll probably remember for a very long time, if not forever. And through your day, while you're trying to learn things, while you're trying to figure out how to get something to work, these are the kind of things you'll pick up constantly throughout the day. And yeah, don't overlook the value of doing a little bit of Googling, doing a little bit of reading. All that stuff adds to your tool belt. So I'll do node-v, and we are using 10.19.0. Now, generally, this is not an indication that this may not work with another version of Node. It's just, you need to know what the current version of Node is. And so we'll save that and we'll say we are on 10.19.0. Excellent. I have no idea if that's the most up-to-date version, but these are things that we can research. Command node not found, can't be installed. Yes. So yes, so you'll have to, if you don't already have it, you'll have to install Node.js. It's first off, Nubonius Prime. It is 1000% GIF. Even though the creator said it's a GIF, the creator is, in fact, sometimes the creator is wrong, and in this sense, it's the creator's wrong. He's wrong. Doesn't make any sense. It's GIF, like gift, not GIF, like whatever else is stupid that starts with a J. It ends in if. Okay, it's GIF. It has to be. I can't live my life saying GIF. It is GIF. Going into a business that is held together with paper clips often results in related find. Don't patch because because a patch broke one thing. So that is phenomenal. I love that BA words. I love that. These are the things that you'll start to find. You'll start to realize, yeah, when you go into something like this and you start to see that things are being, held together weird, and like, you're like, this doesn't look good. It's often an indication of bigger problems, particularly patching. Patching's a huge one where applications and things on the server, on the system, old out-of-date kernels and things like that haven't been updated in a very long time because they maybe they tried and issues were introduced and they never took care of them. It's super problematic, and so when you're coming in and you're having to do something like this, you really want to start to sanitize some of this stuff. And I think a lot of the times, especially in the world that we live in today, it's kind of nice that you can this is why I always say start to inventory things like this, get the correct versions, understand how things are running, and start on a new system. Like, start to rebuild this elsewhere rather than trying to work and upgrade and do weird stuff on the system that exists. Try to recreate this all on something new. I think it's a little bit easier. But yeah, good old pancakes versus waffles, it's just better. It's graphics, not graphics. Exactly. That's the best one. For sure, strong opinion. Pancakes, it's not an opinion. That one's fact. Pancakes are greater than waffles. Waffles are, in fact, a quality food item. So I will give you waffle lovers that, but you are incorrect in your love of them over pancakes. Graphical let's I'm not ready to bring Jenkins into the conversation just yet. I'm not I've had too many. I still have a little bit of PTSD from that. But we have npm here as well, so let's grab the npm version as well. Let's see if we can do it the same way. And there we go, 6.14.4. look at that. But if you were unsure how to do it, again, you Google that the same, And if you were to Google, so if you went to Google how to find the version of Node and they gave you that, and then you were to go and Google how to find the version of npm and it gave you this, that's when it would click. I'm hoping that's when it would click. You're like, okay, this dash V is a thing. And so almost always though, it's either dash V or dash version. What's interesting is most applications, these are kind of aliases for each other. Not all applications though, so it's kind of weird. And sometimes the version will give a drastically different output, which is pretty weird. But yeah. Are there version conflicts with these? No idea. You're not gonna get any Jenkins love from me. I'm just gonna be 100% honest. Haven't used it in a long time, so new Jenkins may be worthy of love, but old Jenkins is not worthy of my love, at least. Maybe someone else's love. Old Jenkins is not worthy of my love. I'm sorry. Okay. So npm is 6.14 and Node is 10.19. Great. We don't know if that's good or bad yet. We will find out. So cool. Our infrastructure diagram has at least our, it's got our back end on here. And some people stick the versions of Node or something on here. I don't think we need to do that right now, but notice we did see something in here in the README that we're going to need MongoDB. We know that we're going to need MongoDB, and generally if they're going to tell you that you need to install MongoDB as a part of this repository, then that probably means that this backend is connected to MongoDB. So it's like, hey, I know that we need, MongoDB, and we'll talk more about MongoDB for sure. And these are just my notes. Back by MongoDB. Let's see what MongoDB version we have. I think it's just MongoD-V. That's a lot. That's a lot right there. Maybe if I do MongoD -- version. I actually have very little experience with MongoDB. I have a lot of experience with NoSQL databases. I don't have a ton of experience with MongoDB, so this is gonna be fun for me as well. But version 4.4.1, excellent. That looks great. Cool. And so let's add that to our infrastructure diagram. And let's see if they have a little Mongo. Oh, no love for Mongo. Okay, there we go. Well, this is all pixely. Maybe let's see if it's pixely over here. Yeah, I don't like that. You know, I'm a man of you know, of art, and you know that wasn't cutting it. So maybe we'll just we'll put this here and we'll say the back end connects. Let's put it over here so the lines aren't weird. Wow. If you put your mouse over this, you can just, what's happening? Something's wrong. Something is very wrong, and I can't draw a line. What is, okay, all right, but I want that to go the other way. All right, hold on. What? Nope. I'm struggling. There we go. Okay. So actually, the line actually probably should go the other way. Oh, double click that would probably, that makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Thank you. The line probably there probably could be two lines, but not important right now. We just want to know that there's a connection between the back end and MongoDB. We will put a little thing here, this MongoDB, just so we know what it is, which is really nice. So, you know, our infrastructure diagram is starting to come together. Our backend uses MongoDB, and maybe we don't really know what MongoDB is yet, but again, that is something that we will look at. We know that we're using it, and now that we know that we're using it, we can go ahead and we can, you know, learn about that a little bit more. And so you might also want to do something like this. You might want to just, you know, to confirm you're using, you might want to say service, you know, MongoD status maybe, and just make sure everything actually is running, because sometimes it might say you're using something and you might not be. So I don't know, you're doing a little bit of forensics here. You're doing a little bit of tracing and kind of figuring out what's happening and just seeing what you can figure out on your own. You know, Mongo is loaded, so that makes a little bit of sense. You're like, cool. Now again, you know something you're using, go and look it up later and kind of see what you can find out about it, understand about it. You just got to know what you're working with first. Also, I've been ignoring the people who have followed, so welcome everyone who's been coming into the stream. Good to have you. So what's up, Hamlet V? I'll go with that. Hamlet V. What's up, Octavius? How you doing? Thank you for the follow. Code Mart, Genesis Algorithms. Thank you so much. Let's see. S Zippy, good to have you as well. Raul, good to have you. No Tone, Arda 13, welcome to the channel. Made by GPS, good to have you as well. And I think I got all the new people. Good to have you. Okay. So yes, like I said, you will be getting this, you'll get the repo. We'll put the repo up shortly, but you'll also get the AMI if you are comfortable putting this in Amazon, and you will also get the VMDK if you want to try to put this in a virtual machine as well. But honestly, to be 100% honest with you, if you have just the repo, you don't even need those things, because there's not right now, the only other things that exist here are users, and we're going to set up users and stuff later. There's no customization in those users, so you can just clone these and install them yourself, and it should work. Cool. So let's Mongo's running great. So our back end, fine. Cool. Let's move over to the front end. You know, we probably don't have everything, not a big deal. Doesn't need to be amazingly thorough. It'll bring itself together over time. So now we're going to take a look at the front end, and we can say, okay, you know, I'm seeing some of the same files, package JSON. I don't know what that is. I don't know what a package lock JSON is, you know, but I see the public directory source and stuff. So, you know, great. We can take a look at the README and see if the README has how to, you know, get this to run as well. And they have a getting started here, and it looks similar. Clone the repo, npm install, and npm start to start it. So doesn't look like there's any new services or tools that we need to install. Seems like it gives us some more information. You should read this entire README. I'm not reading it right now for the sake of time, but you should read the entire README. What's up, Nora? How are you doing? Good to see you. I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. What's up, Sana Admin? Good to have you as well. So take a look at it. Great. We've already talked. I've already given you the tools and things a little bit about what's running. So it's really just Node, MongoDB, running on an Ubuntu server, and remember, we also said there was Nginx running. So you can do a couple of things. I'll give you this lsof command, and this is something that I like to do, is to say, cool, I have no idea what's running on this server. Let me see what ports are currently being listened on. And this is just a good little sysadmin thing to do when you're trying to figure out what's running, because again, remember, only one service can consume a port at a time. So and generally these services, there's generally standard ports for different types of services. So generally, you know, MySQL is on 3306, and you know, Nginx or Apache will run on 80 and 443, and you know, just different services run on different things, and you can kind of see how that looks here. So port 53 is DNS, and so these are things that you're going to kind of see. SSH is 22, so there are a bunch that you're going to see that are just kind of go by, but there's two services run by Ubuntu. The default service generally for Node.js applications for the Node server is port 3000. That's generally the default port. So we do have this running on port 3000, but we also see there's something running on port 4100, and we're not too sure. There are plenty of ways to find out what is running on this. You can actually see the process ID right here, so we could actually, you know, do like a ps auwx, and maybe we can grab, maybe this isn't the best way, there are other ways, but let's see what happens. Whoops. And we could grep for this, and yeah, and we could see that this is the task that's running. So this is actually our front end. So 43854. So this process, our front end, is actually running on port 4100. Look at that. You know, so now we know that it's running on port 4100. So maybe these are things we might want to put in here that we found out. So, you know, running on port 4100. This information might be in the README. Who knows? Just kind of show you some fancy stuff you might want to do. And so you can do that for all the stuff here. You can, these are just PIDs, process IDs, and you can find out what's going on. Port 80 is going to be your web server, basically. But we already know that Nginx is running. We can see Nginx over here. And so let's put Nginx on here as well as a tool that we're using. And let's see if we can get that as well. Nginx -v, and 1.18.0 is the version of Nginx that's currently installed in this application. Okay. What command prompts on Windows will the LSO command work on? You know what? Let's do a little bit of Googling, because I don't know. Windows check open ports. Let's see here. So there's a built-in tool, but I want a command, netstat-ab. Let's try this out. Now there's probably nothing listening, I'm assuming, on my Windows machine, but let's see. I probably should, I guess I gotta run as administrator. Let's do that. Let's do this. Me running as administrator. Whoa. Okay. Yes, this is really nice. So this is the command that you're gonna run to get that on Windows. What's up? I appreciate the Twitch Prime sub. Sims Life, thank you so much for the support. Good to have you. This is cool. You can see that most of my stuff here is Kubernetes. There's a lot of Kubernetes ports for the different Kubernetes services and the different things that run the Kubernetes control plane, because the Docker for desktop that I'm using is running Kubernetes. Very interesting. This is very interesting. So cool. That's how you would do it in Windows. All right. So we got that. We know that Nginx is running, and this is kind of good. So we know that Nginx is just proxying. So what is a proxy? Proxy is like a middleman. And so let's actually see if we can find a little proxy. Let's see if we can find any images for proxy. And a proxy works like this. And Nginx is a commonly used internet proxy. Nginx is heavily used in today's internet because of the way that things work, because the people are running lots of microservices, a lot of different services. Nginx has the ability to create these rules to be able to route traffic to different places, which is really cool. And it's really kind of easy to set up and easy to use. Well, after you get over the initial learning curve, it's pretty easy to set up and pretty easy to use. So requests come in over the internet. So I type in pipelines.media, it hits this proxy server. And so instead of when you make that request to this system, to when you go to pipelines.media, you are not hitting. Oh, look at that. Y'all are in here. Hey, we don't even need to import any data if y'all keep making stuff. Excellent. But you are not hitting this application directly. Your request does not go straight here, and I'm gonna show you some logs to show you that is not happening. What is happening is you are first hitting Nginx, the Nginx web server. Nginx is saying, all right, request, I got you. I know what to do with you. And it is then passing your information, passing your request along to the application. So, there's an extra step in there. And again, why do we have that in there? Generally, you want to use this if you need to direct to a new port, is one of the really common ways. Again, an application can only one thing can be taking up a port at a time. So if you're running, if we needed to run multiple node applications, that is why one is running on port 3000 and one is running on 4100, because once one is running, the other one can't start. It can't consume that port. And so if you have things running on non-web ports, you can reroute the request, because you would still be able to get to this application even if I cut off Nginx right now, you would still be able to get to this application, but you would have to type in port 4100. And that's not a good web experience. How are people going to know that you're running something on a non-standard port? So Nginx is really good for that, to be able to make sure everything can be accessed over these traditional web ports. It's also good for redirecting things. It's also good for it's good for just being kind of the air traffic controller for the requests that are coming into your server. And it's a super powerful application, and you should definitely check it out if you haven't checked it out already. Requests are coming into Nginx and then being proxied over to our application. So let's update our diagram to show that happening. And so maybe first we'll put some people here. So these are the outside users. All right, and so we're gonna put public users. Okay, and they're gonna make a request. Actually, they need to be out here. They need to be outside of the server. Remember, we made this the actual server, so they need to be outside, and they're gonna make a request into the server. And I'll put it down here or something. And then we'll put Nginx over here. And this is the first place that it goes. Okay, and Nginx proxy server. All right, so this is the first place the request goes, and let's take a look at what we don't really know where this is getting proxy to. So let's take a look at the proxy configuration, the Nginx configuration, because that will tell us a lot about what's going on. One thing you're going to have to get comfortable doing if you want to work with infrastructure, work in these systems, you can figure out just about everything through configuration. So everything in Linux is a file or executable, some type of file. Directories are also types of files. There are other special files as well, but everything's basically an executable or a file. So that's the thing that actually makes Linux a lot, that's what made it comfortable for me. Once everyone's like, look, if you ever need to configure anything, you ever need to find out any information, it's in a file somewhere. It is somewhere on the system in a file. And so once I started to realize that, it got super comfortable to me, because I know any new application that I install, any application I walk into, like if I walked into this company and I had no idea how to use Nginx, even though I wasn't familiar with it, I would know that somewhere on this server there is configuration for Nginx, and that, you know, I could find it and I could look through to see what's happening. And so let's take a look at where that might be. You can do a lot of things to find that out. Again, my first thing, I would tell you to start to put in commands to look for, you know, where Nginx, you know, folders called Nginx or something. You can start there. I've started that way before. That leads you down unnecessary rabbit holes. Yes, you could man Nginx. You absolutely could. And you can start to find out how certain things are set up. It might give you some information about where things lie. Look at this. Look at this, files. It tells you right here. The main Nginx configuration file is right here in Etsy Nginx, nginx.conf. Again, man files can be overwhelming if you aren't super comfortable looking at them. I do encourage that you get good at looking at them, get comfortable looking at them, but I understand that takes time, and it is okay if you decided instead to go to the internet, like go to Google, and kind of search for these things as well. Look through the Nginx documentation. There's going to be some information in there about where to look, but you might say, cool, where was that main Nginx configuration? It was in Etsy Nginx, nginx.conf. Now, I will say the first time you're hopping into Nginx, the way that it's configured is absolutely confusing. It is very confusing. So I'm going to walk you through it a little bit. So we're just going to go into Etsy Nginx. Now, this is a good opportunity to go back to, if you don't remember how the Linux file system is set up, I would spend some time watching a video or two about the Linux file system and how it's set up. The first place you're probably going to need to, that you're going to look for most configuration is probably in the Etsy directory. This is, you know, there's a lot of configurable things are put here. A lot of applications opt to put them here. So it's just you know, there's a lot of configurable things in the Etsy directory, so it's a good place to start if you're looking for configuration. But the file that they said look at is this nginx.conf file. So let's take a look at that. What's up, Trouser? Welcome to the channel. What's up, Reckless Penguin? Good to have you as well. Angry Whopper, I think I already, maybe not. Podiman, welcome. One Man Army, good to have you as well. And Ricardo Jass, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for the follow. Good to have you all. Thank you, like, for Ingress. You can use God of Mellow. Yes, yes. Nginx is used for Ingress. Yeah, like for Ingress. What's the difference between proxy and reverse proxy? That's a good question. That's a phenomenal question. I think that's what was just answered. But cool, that's a really good question. I like that. We will talk about that a little bit as well, just to clear that up. Other people might want to know that answer as well. Linux will teach you how to Google or cry trying. Absolutely. What's up, Roadcow? How are you doing today? So this is Nginx configuration. You know, it's interesting configuration. Also, it looks, you know, it's a little bland. It's really JSON-y. It's got some brackets and stuff, but it looks confusing right now, but it's surprisingly simple. It really is surprisingly simple. But what I want you to notice is that right here at the top, they have these includes lines, and so basically it's saying, hey, this is the main configuration file, but anything that I include will also be loaded in as configuration. So Etsy, Nginx, modules enables, star.conf. So anything in there will be, you know, pulled in as settings as well. And there's another included here as well. But there's just some basic information. All this is fine. But what it does do is it actually has the sites available and sites enabled directory. Basically, if you need to set up configuration for a new site, this is how you can do it. Yeah, if you are an Apache user, this allows you to set up virtual hosts for multiple sites, named vhosts and stuff. But there's just configuration to tell requests where to go. It does look like Apache. It is. The configuration is similar. Like, if you're comfortable with Apache, you can make the move over to Nginx. You can definitely use them both. I started out using Apache for everything. I still use Apache for certain things. They have their benefits. They definitely have, like, each has their benefit. Apache's better for dynamic things, but Nginx is, again, like I said, really good for a lot of the way things are set up nowadays, especially for proxying like this. But inside of this sites available folder is where you would put some configuration. So right now there's a default one here, but we could put any number of configurations in there if we had different sites or different setups that we wanted. But there's sites available, but all that does is just that folder doesn't really matter. The sites enabled directory is what matters. Like, it only works if it's in sites enabled. And so you can see here we just have a symlink to the default config that's in sites available. So you basically, the paradigm is you put something in sites available so that you can use it, and then you symlink to it for sites enabled to enable it. And so if you want to disable it, you just remove that symlink. If you want, you don't have to do that. You could actually put the file directly in here if you wanted, but great. But this is the file that we kind of want to look at right now. And it's gonna be a lot of everything with the pound sign next to it is just a comment. And this is a server block saying, hey, go ahead and I want you to listen on port 80. And this is the default server. So every request, if it doesn't match something else specifically, will come through this block by default. And so basically it's saying, hey, I want you to listen for web requests over port 80. And when they come through, tell it what to do. And so it basically sets up a couple of options. It's basically setting up a root directory for where web files should live and stuff like that. But all we're doing here is it basically gets to location, and then it passes it through to localhost 4100. Now think back a little bit. 4100 is the port that our node application is running on. So what happens is the request comes into Nginx, it basically gets into this configuration, it comes through here, it matches this, this actually matches everything, and it says, cool, this request, I'm gonna proxy pass it over to this URL. So just to show you, I can do this. I can actually proxy pass you all over to proxy pass HTTPS. Actually, let me just comment this out. I can send you all over to academy.mastermind.io. So I could do that. I can pass you over there if I wanted to as well. What? Read only option set. 4100, there we go. No. And so I just want to show you how a proxy works. Service, Nginx, reload. And if I reload that, if you were to go back to pipelines.academy before it took you here, if I refresh this page, now it's gonna fail. The reason it's actually going to fail is because of just kind of some of the setups and the way it's I have the setup now. Basically, I don't have any like headers and things. I don't have any like headers and all of the things that my site is expecting for request, because I did not redirect this. I didn't redirect this anywhere. I proxy passed it. So proxy passing is a little bit different than redirecting. Redirect would actually change the URL and all of that. Let me see here. I don't think it's just eight. I don't think it's eight. No, I have HTTPS. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. I can't, because I don't have HTTPS on here. It will fail when it won't allow me to restart the server. But yes, that as well. But also my setup should be expecting certain headers, and so it might give you a different error. It might not give you a bad gateway, but what it will do is it'll give you it probably won't let you get to my site. But yeah, this site doesn't work anymore. I'm trying to think of somewhere I can send it to. That's just gonna have HTTP. Not that many things are gonna have HTTP, and the browser's gonna try to fix that anyway. Not a big deal. Appreciate that, Z300Z. Example.com. Oh, perfect. So watch this. Will it actually let me do this? Oh, yeah, let's see if this works. They might have the same setup as mine. It might not let me. What? Why is it read only now? No. Let's save this. Yank. W. I want to see if it will still work. Get out of here. Whoa. There we go. That's really weird, because I thought oh wow, it did not save the thing that I thought it was going to save. This server is not I forgot it doesn't have my Vim set up. Okay, never mind. It doesn't. Never mind. That makes sense. Some of the key bindings that I was trying to hit are not working because this is not my it doesn't have my Vim config on here. All right, so let's see if that works. It probably will not work, but you can try it yourself as well. We can try to hit pipelines.media. It does work. Really nice, perfect. So it will proxy you over to example.com. So the difference between proxying and redirecting, so redirecting is a thing as well. Notice how the domain didn't change. If we did a redirect, this domain when it redirected you, it would actually change, and your request would end up going straight over to that new domain. That process would just send you away from Nginx. But when it proxies, Nginx remains the middleman. Nginx remains as the middleman for this. Yeah, and it just proxies you over to here until you make a request that falls outside of Nginx. So that's it. That's it for that. That's all proxying is, and so we can change that back to localhost :4100. And again, that is just where this is listening. That's where our front end is listening at, and we'll reload it. So yeah, so it's just proxying over to the front end. So what does that tell us? We can see that it's proxying somewhere. We can see that it's proxying to 4100, which we learned was where our front end application is hosted. That means for our diagram here that we don't need to draw any lines from Nginx proxy server to the back end, but we do need to draw it to the front end. So let's make a new Node.js. Let's make a new dot for the front end. Let's put this here, and we'll just draw a little, oh my gosh, here, and we'll just call this the front end. All right, and we can deduce, now I'm gonna clean these up a little bit later, but we can deduce that the front end makes requests to the back end. We don't know how it does yet, but we can deduce that it makes requests to the back end, and maybe you could draw a line back. So this is kind of how our application is set up. And right now, oh man, this I don't know, I guess it's because I have this big box here that I don't usually have, but this is being, I'm not used to this. I'm not used to it being like this. Okay, but yeah, this is kind of how it goes. The outside public comes in, the request goes through Nginx, which proxies over to the front end, and the front end is Node React. So the Node server says, hey, you know, I got your information. I see what you want to do. So to complete your request, I'm going to take the information that you asked for, and I'm going to, you know, make a request to the backend server to do whatever needs to be done. And when that information comes back through, I will display everything to you. So yes, let's see. It listens on 80 and pass it to 4100. Yes, correct. MTDVP. Nginx is listening over on port 80. And so when you make a request in your browser, by default, we make a request here, by default, it's going to port 80. Well, 443 in Google Chrome because they redirect everything. But it makes it over port 80 by default. So that request over port 80 comes in through Nginx, and it says, cool, pass it over to myself to localhost at port 4100. So it'll allow you to make that request to a different port. So yes. You would use a redirect from HTTP to HTTPS, right? Correct. You would use a redirect. You should use a redirect from HTTP to HTTPS. Yeah, you basically redirect that first request, and so their initial request would come into the server to Nginx. Let's look at this. Their initial request would come in, and instead of having a proxy here, you would have a rule that did a redirect here. So you would write it in like a rewrite rule. So there's a. It's like rewrite, and then you write like whatever the end piece is. So maybe you have like /$ or something, and then I would redirect it to like HTTPS, and then the like $sign or something. But yes, you could rewrite it to HTTPS, and then so the request will come in, it will get rewritten. Their browser would get that, and then it would make another request back to the same server, but over the right port and the right protocol. So yes, it can be a little bit confusing, but you are correct. We use Nginx as a nice proxy to handle all HTTPS communication. It communicates HTTP all the way back in, so we can manage. Yeah, yep. Yeah, okay, so we have Nginx, and our Nginx configuration is actually, we're gonna deal with Nginx a lot here, so don't sweat the configuration. We'll dive deeper into Nginx configuration. Just want to kind of show you where it is and what it kind of looks like, and that's what it kind of looks like. And I think for the most part, that's our application. Let's see any notes we need here. So front end running on port 4100. Maybe I might put here gets proxied by Nginx. Maybe I'll put something like that. Maybe you would put, an Nginx block here and just say, hey, I want to take notes on where Nginx configuration is. And so you can say the configuration located in /etc/Nginx. That's some notes for you there. Let's see, any questions? And do you do wildcard the suffix URL in such a case? Do you wildcard the suffix URL? The suffix URL gets wildcarded. So do you mean like the path, or do you mean like, so there's a couple different ways. And actually, let's just, because we have time, let's talk about Nginx really quick. You can do routing based on two things. So one, I can do routing based on domain or subdomain, same thing. And you can do it based on HTTP and HTTPS as well. But so, I could have we have pipelines.media, and that does one thing. We could set up another route for maybe what? Hold on, what just happened? Pipelines.media. Okay, maybe we had a different domain that was like, maybe our Slack was located at slack.pipelines.media, and that would have a different set of rules. We can also do rules combined on top of this. We can do rules based on the path. So where we were looking at where it said location / we can do it by location. So let's say maybe there was like user login /login, and maybe we had a separate app that did login and handled login. We could route this to a whole different place than everything else on the site if we'd like to do that. It's really nice. So you could actually, I'm using Nginx on my site. That is how I'm proxying. Well, I'm not proxying, I'm having to rewrite. I'll talk to you about the weirdness with proxying to Notion. But when you go to journeys and then you hit pipelines, it is rewriting it. But essentially I'm doing the same thing. I'm matching on /pipelines. So if you type in just /pipelines, I have some rules in there that are going to go ahead and do this. So I'll talk about, we will talk about, we're gonna implement Let's Encrypt for sure. Will we dive that deep into like cryptography, i.e. like salting and hashing? Probably not. But we will set up Let's Encrypt, talk about TLS certs. Notice, I'm trying to use the right terminology. SSL is not a thing anymore, so we'll talk about those TLS certs. That hurt my heart, because I'm a little old school. And someone was like, "Hey man, there's no SSL anymore." I'm like, "What are you talking about? What are you lying? There are SSL certs." And I'm like, "Nah man, it's TLS now." So, but people are so used to saying SSL certificates, so yeah. But yeah, that's it. So let's so that's basically everything. That's the diagram. Just to kind of start, I'm telling you, you might say, "Hey, that's not a ton of stuff." We're gonna get out there, specifically next time. Like this chart next week is probably gonna probably have 4 times as many things on it by the end of next week. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So I forgot what time I said we're gonna finish. We're not really done yet. I'm gonna push this stuff up to GitHub. Let's make a repository to kind of start off next week, right? And so that you can kind of run the app yourself. I might add something to the README. There is one place when I push this, there is one place that you can push. Actually, you can leave everything the same. You should be able to access it. I think I put an absolute URL. So let me check actually. For the front end, to configure where the front end can use different backends. Wait, where am I? Let's go home. In the front end, in the source folder, there is an agent.js, and in the agent.js, I have this API route. You know what I'm actually gonna do? I'm actually gonna change it to the actual URL now. Pipelines.media. All right, so this should still work for everyone as you kind of get this set up, and you'll all have the same data. Now, you will have to change this when you want to run it locally. You will have to change this. I don't think it's in the README. I think I had to find this myself. You will have to change this to points to localhost or whatever. Now, localhost doesn't work here because it's making an because it's Node React. The request is not being made from the server. It's being made from the client. It's being made from the person's browser. And so you'll run into some weird issues if I make a localhost. So I can't actually make a localhost for you right now, but I'll put it in the README so that you know where to go to change things when you're trying to set this up yourself. Zickley, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. I don't know if that's not how you say your name. Please let me know. Thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. I do appreciate the support. Yes, these do go up on YouTube 24 hours after. So if you missed part 1, just kind of the introduction to the course, and we did a little overview of what DevOps is and SRE, and talked about salary and stuff. You can check that out. That is up on YouTube now. So just hit !YouTube. Check it out. It's up there. It is available. But everything will go up on there 24 to 48 hours. Generally, it'll be closer to 24 now. But yeah. As a safety of not having to expose your actual web server database directly to expose it. Yeah, that's what a lot of this is. So cool. Let's make a repo really quick. Let's save that. And let's make a repo. You know what we're gonna do? I could just change the internal stuff here. We're gonna remove all this. We're gonna remove the whole Git directory, and then we're gonna we're gonna git init. All right, let's make some repositories real quick for Git. GitHub.com. What do we want to call the front end? We can actually call this. I'm never gonna remember the name. It's called, what is it called? Conduit. We'll call it Conduit. We'll call it Conduit front end, so it's easy to know. Front end, Conduit front end, and this is the front end for pipelines.media, and we'll go with this. We don't need to do any of this. It's public. Any of us can see it. Typo U to O. Ah, man. And I made it anyway. That was, can you just change? You can't change the names, can you? Do I have to delete this? Conduit. Perfect. Thank you. I make a lot of typing mistakes. So let's go ahead and push this up so that you can have this. Oh, I hate when it does that. Just joined the company, comma, starting version control journey. How about that? There we go. Git push -u origin master. We're gonna talk a lot about Git, so you'll get comfortable with Git for sure. Access right couldn't be established. Permission public key. Git. Actually, did I add the SSH or did I add I added the SSH? Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. We are going to git remote. That's not what I meant to do. Someone told me how to remove, how to change it, but I'm gonna do it the way that I remember, because I never remember the way that you told me how to do it. Config. Let's change it to the SSH one instead, so that I can log in. Or the HTTPS one instead. I never remember how to do it. One day I'll be good at these things. I do remember, I'm gonna start talking about the Git things that I know, and you guys taught me about capital C. Oh, thank you so much. That is the best command right there. Thank you so much for that. And now we should be able to git push -u origin master. Okay, so now that is up there for you. Git remote set URL origin. Okay, I will do my best to do that. I'll definitely do my best to do that. Zosam, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. I'm sorry I missed that. Or maybe Zosam, did you gift it? I don't know what's happening. But yeah, you are spectacular. I agree. You're absolutely spectacular. Yes, good question, Aya. Yes, we are gonna go ahead and create 2. You know what? I love your question, Aya. I was going to create 2 separate ones, but I think so that we can prove a point later. I think we aren't going to do that. Perfect. You're the man. So here's what we're going to do. Now we are going to actually, what's the best way to do this? Don't do what I'm about to do. I want to try something out because I have no idea if this is going to work. Let's do this. Let's cd back. Let's make a directory. Let's call it Conduit. Let's make a directory called Conduit. Let's go into Conduit. Let's copy everything. Let's copy front end. Let's copy the .git directory here. And then let's copy -r. I should have moved it instead of copied it. Let's copy -r front end. We're gonna copy it here. This was okay. It's gonna take a little while, and the reason it's gonna take a little while is because all of the it's gonna copy over all of the dependencies. That's what I should have done that, but whatever. It's gonna be fun. It's definitely gonna be fun. Yes, anyone can post anything. So yeah, recursive. So that's good. But I need to remove. I I need to arm. Well, this is gonna be more annoying, but we're gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna have to change the git ignore as well, but that's fine. I think maybe not. Maybe git ignores work in a different way than I think they work. So I'm gonna do the same thing that I just did with the back end. You'll at least get the code. The git status is going to be wild. This is not the way that you should do this at all, but it's, you know, this isn't crazy important. There we go. Not a git repository. Whoa, where'd the front end go? Did I, what? Hold on. Front end was here. What did I just do? I don't understand why it removed. I don't understand what happened. I mean, so my LL is an alias for, I believe, AL. rm-r front end. Did I front end? I thought I just removed git. Oh, did I put a space in there? See, this is what happens when you're trying to go too fast. I was just trying to remove just this git directory. Okay, that looks better. But I removed the git that was here. Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay, doesn't really matter. Here we go. Git in it. And here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna blow this whole thing away, just so there's no drama. Just so there's, you know, don't clone that one yet. I mean, I could rename it and do all this, but it's okay. It's all right. We're gonna clean this up. Delete it. See, I don't type incredibly slow as I was doing the other day when we tried that typing test. It's just not as accurate as I want to be. And let's create a new one. Let's call it Conduit. And we're gonna say front end and back end for pipelines media public, create a repo, HTTPS, that's good. You've had another git repository inside your current. Oh, okay, that's back into. We could do sub modules. We're not doing all that right now. Ooh, circles in here already. That's great. I'm gonna remove that, and I'm gonna remove .git. Does anyone know if git ignores work? Like, do they need to be in the top level? I have no idea, actually. Like, if this git ignores here, I really don't want it to pick up the. Actually, I mean, I'll find out in a second. I'll just do a git status and see. Let's see. If I go in the front end and I do a git status, I just don't want. Oh yeah, that looks good. I think I don't want node modules. Perfect. Great question. Great. I love it. Why are we adding it into the same repo? The reason why we shouldn't add it in the same repo. You're right. We should not add it in the same repo because we're trying to simulate the journey that we are taking. We walked into this company who doesn't even have any version control. Yes, maybe we should split it up, but we don't even yet know how this application truly works yet. And so we don't even know how to properly split it up. Yes, it's already broken up in a nice way for these two services, but for now, we're gonna stick them all together. We're also about to stick, you know what we're also about to do? Just so that you have all of the stuff, here's what we're also gonna do. We're also going to /etc. We're also gonna copy the entire well, maybe not all of it. Yeah, we're gonna copy all. What else is in? Hold on. ll/etc Nginx. We're gonna copy the. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make a directory for Nginx, and we're gonna copy /etc Nginx. Sites enabled, sites enable available, default, and we're gonna copy that here. All right, now just so you have everything, and yeah, this is, you are absolutely correct. We are gonna end up splitting these up probably next time, but we're gonna talk about why we're splitting them up and how to properly do that. So I'm gonna add everything. All right, so there we go. Just wanted to get that up there for you. So what you can do is, like I said, I'm still gonna export the AMI if you are someone who likes Amazon, and I'm still gonna give you that VMDK. Check out the resources channel, so you'll have it available to you if you'd rather do it that way. But you can also just clone it, try it out yourself, see if you can set it up if you'd like. And yeah, we'll dive into. Not only are we going to dive into making all of this work, we're going to be adding more services, and our stuff is going to get more complicated. So, oh wait, what in the world? What happened to, what does this mean? I don't know what this means. What does that mean? Does that mean there's nothing in? Does that mean there's nothing in there? Is get add dot the same as get add dash? Yes, kinda. It's not, but it is when you're in the root of the directory. The dot says add everything basically here and downwards, like in my current location and downwards. Dash A adds everything. We are learning how to approach, we're LARPing, we're live action role playing. We're learning how to, we got a new job at a company together. We all are, working at this company together, but we're all just one person actually. And we're basically walking into an application that's starting to take off, that, has very poorly managed infrastructure. It's a very poorly managed application, and our job is to make that better, as well as set up infrastructure and pipelines and things to help developers be able to develop new kind of R&D things. So yeah, we are tonight we were learning about the infrastructure that currently exists, and we're gonna figure out what to do with this over the next 8 weeks. Just at a new company, they be telling me I was stealing. Hey, I mean, they wouldn't know. Obviously, if they did at least get this part done, I mean, they don't know. But does anyone know why? I'm lost actually now. Like, why, what does this arrow mean? And why can't I see anything in there? Does the get ignore have literally everything in backend? What's in this file? Dope. Absolutely think, so one, if you're new to software development and you're learning, this is more on the infrastructure side of things. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, so tomorrow, we're doing we do something called Decoded, where we're focusing on software engineering and computer science. Tomorrow, we're actually going to be building, we're learning how to build command line applications. So apps that you can, easily use on the command line. Yeah, so that's what we're gonna be doing tomorrow there, if you want to check that out. So thanks for following. Appreciate the follow. Asantos 3, Jeff Kang 2, good to have you. The Hulk, welcome. Leplaka, good to have you. Jada Maniqui, I tried it. Welcome to the channel as well. Thank you so much, Crapples, for the 100 bits. Twice. I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it. 3 times. I missed that. I don't know how I missed that. Thank you so much for the bits. The cheers. Thank you, Toasted Zergling. I think I already shouted you out for that, but I do appreciate it. Thank you everyone for the love and for the support. Yeah, can someone clone? Well, I can also clone this. I can clone this locally. Because you previously initialized the backend folder with the other deleted repository. Oh, so it's a is it showing as a Git submodule? Or like the same paradigm? Very interesting, but I deleted that entire repo. Check if you locally have a .git subfolder under that folder. Yep, did I not delete that git subfolder? That would make sense. But usually it gives you, it usually yells at you for that. I don't see, there's nothing here. I don't understand. Maybe, I don't know how to fix this. How do I fix this? What if I recopy? Well, no, I don't know. I don't know how to fix that. See, yeah, there's always some Git stuff. That's weird. Let's see. That would mean the folder locally nested in Git repository in GitHub. If you see a folder, it's a submodule, meaning you own a repository, Git modules. A clone recursive submodules will restore the content. Wow. Okay. All right. So let's see if we can knock this out really quick. Trying to think, what is the best way? What happens if I just want to see what happens if I make an update here. Like, what if at the bottom of this I just put you know, I put a space. Oh, that space didn't do anything. Just gonna type some random stuff. That's not how you should make updates, but interesting. This is very interesting. It's actually not okay. All right. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. So yeah, it's a submodule, but usually if you but the submodule setup, you need to do more things that would also oh, okay. All right, here's what we're gonna do. What happens if I remove it? I don't even need to push this. And what if I copy -R? This is weird because I thought I removed the git git directory before, even if it is listed. That's weird. That might not work right because I did not commit first. But let's see what happens. A dumb commit message fixed, backend folder. That looks good. And I don't even have my Git LG set up, so I couldn't even really see what's happening. But let's see if that fixed it. I think that fixed it though. That was a sloppy way of fixing it if I did fix it, and that did fix it. Cool. Again, we're gonna try to not we're not gonna, after today, we're not gonna be that sloppy at all. This is just the very first push. So cool. So also you can go look through this. So this Conduit app comes from this real world example thing. They have a bunch of different backends. So they basically created this same app with a bunch of different front ends and a bunch of different backends, and you can interchange them. It's not crazy easy to do, but for some of them it is. For some of them it's a little tough. It took me I tried it with the Go one. It took me forever to get that one working. But I did get it working, but I was going to use that, but not super important for this. Gonna be honest, I have no idea what issues occurred with that git push. I mean, I don't either. I actually don't know. So what I think happened, here's what I'm speculating happened. That backend already was a Git repository. It already was set up as a Git repository because I cloned it from somewhere else. I pulled it into our project. I thought that I removed the Git folder before I pushed it, but if I didn't, and I tried to basically, add this thing as a part of our project. Git has a paradigm called submodules, and what submodules do is it allows you to not have to. It allows you to use code from other repositories, but you don't have to include the entire code base in your repository. So only the code that's like in your repository will be there. So when people clone it, they'll only get your code, and then they can clone all of the rest of the sub repositories that are there. So all the repositories that exist outside of yours, they can follow the history of those repositories. So I think that's what happened. It's basically like a pointer. It was an arrow because it was like a pointer out to a different repository. I think that's what happened, but I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what happened. I think that's what happened. Next time we'll take some time, like when it matters, like when we actually care about the history. Right now, we don't really care about the history because this is the beginning of the history. Well, when we do care about the history, we will absolutely dig into what's happening there, and figure out exactly what's going on so that we know, one, make sure we're not making a mistake and overriding, a bunch of stuff. So we will definitely do that. But that's it. Tomorrow, if anyone's interested in learning how to code, like I said, we are going to be working on learning about command line applications and how to write command line applications. We'll be building 1 to 2 depending on how time breaks down, and I'll also be leaving you with one to build on your own if you'd like. And then next week what are we doing here next week? We are doing ramping up the development team. So I'm going to talk to you guys next week about we have developers coming in, and this is our first week down. After our second week, we have some developers coming in, so we need to know what to think about when thinking about how to support the developers. When you are doing DevOps, when you're doing SRE work, you're really trying to figure out ways to support the developers. Really, the developers are your customer, and so we're going to be learning about what to think about when you are ramping up a development team and what their needs are. And then we're going to create some development strategies and workflows. So we're going to be working through some stuff in Git and getting our version control set up better. We're going to probably set up some webhooks and all kinds of stuff, but we're really going to learn about how to create environments, and we're going to be deploying infrastructure and setting this up in a way that people can push code and see their code and start working through some CI/CD, and we'll set up some pipelines. We will, in the second week of pipelines, we'll actually be setting up some pipelines. So like I said, we're going to be basically working immediately next time. Like as soon as we start, we're going to have to dive straight into it because we're going to be building stuff right off bat, and we'll be building stuff all week. This program is Notion. It is phenomenal. It's free. I do pay for it, but it's free. It's really cool. It's what I use to organize my thoughts, and it's really nice. Appreciate that, Ammonia Flows. I do appreciate it. Do we have a Git ignore in each folder? I think there is one in each one. Did you say decoded video from yesterday is available? No, it will go up now. So I have to wait 24 hours, or I'm supposed to wait 24 hours according to Twitch's policies before I can put it on YouTube. So the decoded video from yesterday will be going up. I'll release it right after this. It is already rendered and uploaded to YouTube. I just have to, click the button to publish it. So give me 10 minutes and you'll see that up there. Monday's episode of this is also on YouTube right now. Yep, absolutely. It'll be here on Twitch for 14 days, but on YouTube 24 hours later. Where's the proper location on Discord to ask programming questions? Phenomenal question, Road Cow. So let's actually hop in here. Let's see. So for this one, there is a pipelines section. You want to ask programming questions. That's a good question. So there's this coding section here. Maybe we can add a questions channel. That might make sense. Maybe we should do that right now. So you can add kind of general coding questions here. Because there are a lot of people in Decoded, you can also ask it in the questions channel here. Looks like a lot of people are having conversations about this now. So you can ask them there as well. So yeah, cool. That is it. Let's figure out who we're gonna raid tonight. Thanks everybody for coming through. Also, I know how it can be at the end of the week. I know how. So, one, learning this stuff can be tough, and this course is very different from the one that we did the first time. We flew through a lot of things. We're touching a lot of stuff. We're just kind of living and seeing things. This is kind of how it is on the job. It's a fire hose of information. If that is discouraging to you, I'm telling you, just take some time over the weekend, write down again the things that you heard that you didn't understand, and maybe a lot of stuff. Just write it down, write down the words. Again, just 30 minutes in the morning, just go to YouTube, type in the words, watch a couple videos, see what you can learn about it. But do your best to keep that. It's really hard to keep that motivation going into kind of the second week of these things. Try to keep that motivation. Just know it's a marathon. It really is a marathon. Even if you get to the end of this and even if you're lost on all the things that we're doing, I promise you will have picked up 50, 60 new little concepts here and there that you did not know before. You will learn something no matter how lost you are. So just, I don't know, I'm telling you, keep with it. Keep with it. One of the things I said in there was start to find that comfort in being lost. I'm throwing you in the deep end a little bit here. So, just do your best to tread water a little bit if you're struggling, but also reach out if you're struggling, ask questions. We'll do our best to get you on track. I just want to say this whole Twitch coding stuff blows my mind. If you had so many decades ago when coming up, they're watching live. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I spend a lot of my day watching live coding on here as well, because I learned a lot from it, and I never would have thought I would be doing that at all. Please read over Circle CI for next week. Read over Circle CI. We might use GitHub Actions, maybe. But we probably use Circle CI. So if you want to check it out, just to give you a little preview, you can go check that out. Effectively find Bert the Banker, that is 1000%. Understanding how to effectively find information is the greatest skill. Absolutely, Liquid Fractal. Absolutely. If you're struggling to do this alongside with you, do you have a recommendation for OS to work from? So probably, I'm going to be doing almost everything. I'm probably going to stay in the terminal. I'm probably not going to go anywhere else. Even when we are making changes to the application and stuff, I'm going to be doing everything in Vim. So, I mean, Linux usually, just because it's easier to, you'll be able to install the programs the same way that I install the programs. And so it might be the easiest to follow along with, but I wouldn't kill yourself trying to get a Linux installation installed or something. Anything will do, but probably Linux for sure. And yes, I am in WSL2. I know we're 2 hours in, but did we go over the Sdlc stuff? Feel like yes, we did. So that one PC player, if you do exclamation point slides, there's some slides in there. We didn't spend a ton of time on the Sdlc. We didn't spend any time on it, did we? Did we do it? Or did I start in the... Did we talk about it? Now, hold on, now I'm confused. Did we talk about it at all? My RAM is 34, 36. I don't know. Man, I skipped it. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna take 8 minutes. I'm gonna take 8 minutes. Here it goes. 8 minutes. If you gotta go. I'm very sorry about that. But it is in here. Man, I'm sorry about that. Let's talk about this really quick. The Sdlc. It sounds super complicated. It is not complicated. It is the process in which software is conceptualized, developed, and then maintained. So it's the life cycle of software. So from ideation, from when the people think of it, into it being developed, and then to the point where it's being maintained. And it's got like 7 steps. There's some debate about these 7 steps. Planning. This is not writing any code. This is when, the people have the idea for the application, for the features, for the tool, whatever it is, and this is just, hey, figuring out what we want to do and what we need to do that. We want to know the people that we need. We want to know, how many people it's going to take, how long it's going to take, what exactly do we want this thing to be. So the planning phase, that's the first part of the life cycle. Then requirements analysis. So the first part is like, what is it that we're actually doing? How many people do we need? This one is, what are the things that need to be done for us to be able to successfully complete the requirements that we just thought about in the planning phase. So we planned some stuff out. The requirements analysis is, what are the things that are absolutely needed to be able to successfully complete the things that we planned? That's requirements analysis. Design is when, you know, you've got your requirements, you know, you've kind of sat down and thought about what it is that you actually need, how many people you're going to need to do it. This is what is the actual product going to look like? So it is the look, the feel of it, how's it going to work, how people are going to interact with it and operate like. So during the design phase, this is not just graphic design, this is designing the service of the application, designing the look, the feel. This is application architecture, this is infrastructure design, this is all of the different design aspects to figure this out. This is this step. So that's step number 3. And that's after you design it, then you implement it. This is the part that we all care about. This is when you're actually building these things. So that's just coding, you know, doing the coding, doing the implementation of the infrastructure. You're actually building all of those features and satisfying all the requirements. Once you get that done, you need to test it. You need to make sure this stuff still works. So testing is ensuring that what we've built is doing what it is intended to do. Make sure this part is very important. There's so many different ways to do it. We're actually going to have a little excursion on testing, probably a 4-parter on testing. It might even be 6 for some of the things that we want to add in there, but we will have one for testing, specifically testing. So after you test, so you plan it, you figure out the requirements, you design it, you build it. You test it to make sure the thing that you built works. Then you deploy it. So you've tested it, you built it, you've tested it. Now you got to get the products out into the hands of the user. So you deploy it out into the systems where other people can use it, and then you maintain it. So once it has been deployed, you make adjustments, you make tweaks, updates to keep things running. Now, this is a quick overview of the Sdlc. It is, again, you don't need to memorize this, but just think about the life cycle of an application. You'll notice that this is extremely similar to the diagram that we saw when we went over the DevOps workflow. This is almost the exact same thing. When you plan it out, you know, it doesn't have design on here, but that design all goes into this planning, the requirements and stuff all go into the planning here. Then you implement it. You know, this is the implementation. You code and you build, then you test it. Then this is, you know, the releases deploying phase. And then this is the maintenance phase right here. And then it feeds right back into the life cycle. Remember, it's called a life cycle. So although it has these 7 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, has these 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps. It does have 7 steps. Although it has 7, they feed back into each other. The process begins again when there are new features, when there are updates, they feed back in here, you know, and it's not really this linear. Sometimes in the testing phase, this can lead to changes in the planning, in the design. So, you know, there's some variation in here, but for the most part, this is the cycle that happens, and it happens continuously. You run through it, you do more work, you run through it again, and it's a cycle that happens over and over. So that's very high level, super high level. If you're interested in learning more about the software development lifecycle, I would feel free to dive deeper into it. There are a lot more concepts as a part of this, but what I want you to get out of this is how an application comes to be. And you knowing these steps of how an application comes to be, it helps you start to understand where you can make changes and where things can be addressed to make the process easier. Remember, when you're talking about DevOps and SRE, yeah, the tools and the technical things are great, but you're really worried about process and changing the processes to support the organizations. And so knowing how all of these things work together really helps you make decisions on those processes. Why Vim and not an IDE? Mostly because we're not going to be, I think IDEs work better for if you're developing, you know, robust applications in one language, which we're not going to be doing. And my Vim is set up like an IDE, to be honest. And Vim is cool. Vim is just cool. But yeah, I'm sorry I didn't go over that. I'm sorry that we didn't get to spend more time on the SDLC part. Ask any questions. I might post some videos about it, but ask any questions you have about this. We went through it super fast, so completely understandable if you didn't get it. That's my bad. I'm sorry about that. PyCharm is great. PyCharm is good. I actually really like all of JetBrains products, but you know, Vim and VS Code work for me for most of the things that I do personally. Imagine designing a program before coding it. No, really employee design it before you ask me to code. Yeah, it's 100% design it before you ask me to code it. Hardest part of SDLC is always getting people involved to actually follow whatever is defined. Yes, you are absolutely correct. People are always the problem. Always. People are the solution as well, but people are always the problem. Terminal environment using only the terminal rather than environment with GUI possibilities. That is true. Yes, strategist. So yeah, I come from an ops background, and I've been in a lot of environments where, you know, you had to do all the editing on the servers. And I know companies who do still make their devs, you know, do development on a server. VS Code's great. VS Code's phenomenal. VS Code is absolutely what I recommend for just about everyone. I recommend VS Code first, even though I'm a Vim user, and I recommend Vim second, to be honest. But I think just about everybody should be using VS Code. I can't speak highly enough of it, but I've grown to prefer Vim over the past few months for sure. But now that's it. I'm sorry, like I said, that we went over time, and that we skipped an entire pretty important section. Look through, this is really what these things are. I made the explanations of these things as short as possible, as to help you to just simply remember, be able to remember the 7 steps. But again, you can dive deeper into all of these things. Learn what goes on in the planning phase. There's a lot that goes into the planning phase, and like gathering requirements analysis. There's a lot of concepts that go into being able to analyze the requirements, and like what you should pay attention to, and what that actually is. Design is a whole beast of a thing. We have a whole week going over application architecture and infrastructure design. So we'll talk about that, but like there's a lot that goes into all these things. So definitely dig into these things, but I just think it's helpful to know the life cycle of the application. Let's see, are you going to wear a Tron outfit for Halloween? I wasn't, but it's a phenomenal idea. I might have to do that. You know, I am gonna wear something, but I hadn't gotten to what I was gonna wear yet. But Tron does sound pretty good. Good question. What version of Ubuntu are we running here? Cat Etsy issue, I actually have no idea. 20.04. That's great. Phenomenal. We need to put this in our notes. OS Ubuntu. Good question. Love it. No Pokemon. What do you mean no Pokemon? Pokemon everywhere, okay? They should be everywhere. Can you put the network diagram out in the notes as well? Great. Yes, absolutely, I can. Yeah, I like that. Great idea. So here's what we'll do with this. Infrastructure notes. We will, is this is shared to the web, because you can get to it from there. But what's the easiest way to do this? The easiest way is for us to Untitled diagram, to share. What happens? I want to see what happens if I do this. What happens if I just paste this link in here? Can you all get to it? So let's go. Infrastructure diagram. If this link doesn't work, then I will simply I'll just export the PNG, and then we'll update the PNG every time we make updates to it. So try that. Yeah, someone try clicking on that. Someone definitely try to click on that. It's better to keep an ID terminal separate, especially if you're working on multiple modules. That's fair. Perfect, works excellent. I'm glad. Perfect. Pokemon for Halloween? Nah, I'm not gonna do. I mean, Pokemon. I love Pokemon, you know, as you can see over there. But I feel like they don't have any good costumes. I feel like I would look dumb as every Pokemon, except for maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll be a good. I feel like all the Pokemon. I feel like all the Pokemon who are people-like look stupid, like Nginx, or is it a Y? First off, whatever pops up, you know, I'm doing a very wholesome search. I'm looking for Pokemon, so whatever comes up on Google, it's not my fault. Maybe I can be like, who are the other people like Pokemon? I guess like, was it Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan? Well, I guess. Oh, maybe I could go as a Machop or a Machoke. Yeah, I'll be a Machoke. Or Machamp. There we go. Or Mr. Mime. Yeah, I mean, I can put my hair like that. Let's see. I spelled mime. Oh yeah, I might go. I kind of want to go as Mr. Mime now because I feel like I can just like, oh, this is great. I think I can do this. Snorlax. I mean, yes, I could be a good Snorlax to be honest, but I'm working on it. I'm working on not being a good Snorlax. But Snorlax was my favorite Pokemon for so long because he was basically impossible to catch in the game. Like, it was so hard to catch in the game, and he was super. He just sat in that spot. You couldn't get past him. You're like, hey man, that's savage. You're just a Pokemon that just sleeps, and you don't even have to train, and you beat everybody. And I wanted to aspire to be that. And you know, I had to work hard though. He didn't have to work hard, but I had to work hard. And you know, now I know that this cartoon is not realistic, but you know, at the time I thought it was cool. I thought it made sense. I thought I could be a Snorlax one day, but you know, I think now I want to be a better Snorlax is a Blastoise. Like, let's be honest, Blastoise is fat. Okay, look at this. Look at Blastoise. Blastoise does not have a neck. I don't have a neck. Blastoise has short arms. My arms aren't that short, but they're kind of short. So you know, you can just get guns on your back. You know, I think Blastoise is who I might be. That might be kind of fun as well, but we'll see. That was fun diving into my Pokemon history. What's a Blaziken? So okay, or Blaziken? I don't know. I'm an original 151 person. Oh, okay. I did play this game, but I didn't know who these Pokemon were. First, I guess I did know. I guess I did know this. This was this second gen? Was Torchic second gen? I know Torchic, but I don't know. Now I feel like I got to go back and learn more about Pokemon because you know, it's been a long time. I did have the game. I had the newest game and I was playing it. It was great, but then I gave my Switch to my nephews and nieces, and because I wasn't playing it and I was busy, and now I want to play it because I have time to play it now, which is kind of frustrating. But and now you can't get Switches anywhere because they're sold out. So you know, life's hard. Life's hard as an adult. You know, it just doesn't want you to be great. But that's it. All right, we need to rate somebody. I need to go. I need to start reminiscing about Pokemon. Who is online right now for us to go say hello to? Let's see. Science and tech. Do we have some coding guy? What are people doing today? And also, if anyone ever has any recommendations, let me know and we will head over to that person's channel. Let's see. Absolutely. Thanks for coming through. Glad to have you. Let's go see Isaiah by Day. We haven't been over there in a while. Let's go say hi. Oh, is Callow on? I love Callow. Callow's is Callow on right now? Let's see. Yeah, Callow's on. Let's go say hello to Callow. Thank you. Callow's pretty dope. Go say hi. He's in here a lot. He's been in here a lot lately. Let's say hello. And I think he's got. I wonder if he still has his cool overlay. If he does, we need to win. Appreciate it. Part 2 not on there? I will check. Sometimes they pull down my stuff for DCMA reasons, but I can usually fix that. I will check on that right after this. I'll check on that to see what's going on with part 2, and I will let you know. If there's a problem with it, I will fix it, and if there is not, then I will make sure it is there, because it just may not be. I may not have included it in the playlist. So appreciate that, Bedrock. Thank you so much, everybody. Let's go say hello to Callow. We'll be out of here in 10 seconds, 9 seconds, 8 seconds, 7 seconds, 6 seconds, 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1. Everyone have an excellent night.